Hello, what a week it has been. Whew. Welcome to this week. It's great to be back in the new year as we have now begun 2023. See what we got going on this year. It was a pretty light news week, but I found stuff to talk about. So don't worry about that. We do have lots that we can certainly talk about. And of course, we also have what you guys bring to the table. So be sure to just load up your questions as we go, and we will get to everything. All right. To start off the show, we've got Scott in the house saying hello, 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 Scott, over there at Create, Save, and Invest. And he does a live stream every single weekday at, 11 p.m. East, or sorry, yeah, it's 11 p.m. Eastern. So check that out. We also got Muggsy in the house, channel member Muggsy. Hello, Muggsy. And we got Tim in the house. Hello, Tim. It is fantastic to see you. All right. Now, while people are plodding in, we're going to jump into our first story of the day. And it's all about, it's about oil. Over in Europe this year, we have been lucky. I guess this is one of the few times that global warming has perhaps helped us out. And it has been, they're having a warmer than normal winter. In fact, they're looking at about 2 to 5 degrees Celsius warmer than normal in a lot of places in Europe. What is this meaning? Well, what this means is we had thought for a while that they were going to have a horrific energy crisis. They still have an energy crisis, but it's not quite as bad. In fact, this warm winter that they're having in Europe has been one of the driving forces behind the drop in the price of oil. Now, also in Europe, natural gas is down about 47% because of the, not the shortage, but because, the shortage of coal. So that's actually being really good. It's helping as well with, of course, the inflation problem that they have in Europe as well. It hasn't solved it, but it has certainly helped take a little bit of a bite out of it because fuel, of course, does drive a lot of the inflation, a lot of the price of inflation. So it's good to see that that has been resolved. All right. Now, we've also got a few more people. We have got a horrible person in here. Let me see if I can... let's see. I'm going to block that user. Holy banana bread. I got it. You gotta hate it when those kind of people show up. Holy. All right. Anyway, Jordan, welcome to the show. It's great to see you. Sorry, I kind of got a little bit caught up in that little, naughty ad that popped up and they, in triplicate. So, oh well. Anyway, that's fine and dandy. It's actually been funny. I have not had a lot of these people lately. So that's really cool. And Scott jumped in there and reported them. Awesome. Yeah, always report those people. Now I'm on top of my comments really, really well. But when you guys see some of these people who pop in and they're not real users, they're trying to scam you or whatever, report them. Always report them. Those guys do not deserve to be around, at least in our community. And Jill is saying hi. Hello, Jill. And we'll talk a little bit more about Jill in a moment. We got Tim in here. Of course we do. And he's saying me too. And Muggsy saying pretty quick on the takeout. Yeah, absolutely. I see them. I'm jumping all over them. It's like, because I just can't stand those guys cluttering up our space. All right. Perfect. Well, let's move to our next story now that we seem to have taken care of that drama. Jobs. So one of the big things that came out this week, both in Canada and the US, is our jobs report. Now, in Canada, our unemployment dropped to 5% in December, and we added 104,000 new jobs. Now, to put that into perspective, economists had estimated that we were going to add 8,000 new jobs in December, but we added 104,000 jobs. That can be alarming, especially for the Bank of Canada, because they're going to look at that and they're going to say, oh, that's a sign of sticky inflation. Because what basically sticky inflation means that You've got wages rising. People are then spending more because they're making more money. And that, of course, results in more inflation, hence sticky inflation. Inflation's not moving. So one of the interesting things is we were thinking that the next Bank of Canada hike maybe they were going to pause. That was a possibility. But with job numbers like this, you're almost guaranteed that the next Bank of Canada rate hike will be about 25 basis points. Now, in the US, we had the exact same thing. Jobs came in much hotter than expected. Now, they were anticipating 153,000 brand new jobs in December in the US. They got 235,000 new jobs. And that's, of course, we're talking about private payroll, so just regular businesses. That's a lot. And it's going to be really interesting. It'll be very interesting to see what some of these numbers are going to look like when we get to the next announcements, both the Bank of Canada and the Fed. I think we're going to see. I'm actually thinking with the with the Fed, I wouldn't even be surprised if they end up coming back with a 50 based on some of these jobs numbers. Bank of Canada, though, I think maybe 25, but it'll be interesting to see. And we'll get a clear picture, I think, as we get a little bit closer. And Timalor is in the house. Hello. Good to see you. It's always great to see you guys every Sunday. I find that fantastic as we sort of move a little bit into the year. Hopefully, so far, 2023 has been really good for you guys. I know myself this week, I've been, making some money doing the day trading. Actually, this week I've been playing oil mostly. Now, oil's been going down, so I've been actually playing inverse oil ETFs most of the week and making money that way. But oil's getting down towards the bottom of that bucket. Normally, it doesn't go below $70 a barrel. So, it's hard to say what it's going to do this week. They'll have to sort of see. I'm kind of hoping. I'd like to see it go back up. That way, there I can play my normal stocks on the way up as everything is looking good. And then on the way back down, we can certainly play some of that inverse stuff again. Now, some of the red that we did have in the market last week was because of those job numbers as well. So the market's not liking a lot of the stuff that's going on right now. But hopefully, once we get things under control, but keep in mind, we still have, that potential recession in front of us. So there's still a little bit more pain still left to come. And we got Joe in the house. Joe says wage growth was less than expected in the U.S., so that may lessen the inflation fears a little. Well, let's hope so. That's one of the things that we want to do. Right now, the biggest thing both the Fed and the Bank of Canada are looking for is they want to see that what they're doing is working. Once they see that, it's going to make them a little bit less, I want to say the word cranky. But I guess the proper word would be hawkish. We don't want them to be hawkish. We want a little bit more dovishness in there because that tends to be better for the market. But it'll be interesting to see how this is all going to work out. And the Fed meeting isn't until February, early February. And I think the Bank of Canada is just before the end of the month. So we'll get a good idea of how they are thinking, I think, with both of these. Now, there are some CPIs still to come out. So that will be interesting as well. All right. Layoffs this week. We have had at least one major layoff announcement in the States, and that was Amazon. They're laying off 18,000 people. That's a lot of people. But here's the thing. Right now, there's so many jobs available that these people have places to go. They may not have their ideal job to go to, but there are jobs available for them. But these layoffs will actually start to help some of the job numbers. Hopefully, if we do get into a recession, you'll see more layoffs, but it'll be very interesting to see how this is all going to balance in the end. I think this is going to be really neat because this time, a lot of times when people say, this time it's different, it's not. But in this case, it kind of is. We're in a situation where we've had a pandemic. We've had massive amounts of money pumped into the economy. And we've also got the whole baby boomer issue where we're losing all of those jobs so fast that we can't replace them. So it's going to be really interesting to see how all of these come together and what our end result is going to be this year, if anything. And no matter what the predictions are about 2023, I think everybody can agree on one prediction. 2023 is going to be a very interesting year. So, and we'll be here every week looking at it as it unfolds. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. All right. Hydrogen. So we got a little bit on hydrogen. So what's going on with hydrogen? Right now over in Germany, so Germany and Norway have just announced plans to build some hydrogen power plants, and they're also looking to build a pipeline as well to transport hydrogen between the two countries. Now, this is interesting. As you guys know, I did a story on hydrogen a while back, and that was because Germany had made a deal with Canada to buy a whole bunch of hydrogen from us. So that's why over in Newfoundland near Stephenville, we're building a whole bunch of green hydrogen producing mostly wind power. So that's going to be really interesting as we start to move some of that over. It looks like hydrogen's day may actually be coming, which is really neat. So that's one of these things. I'm going to watch hydrogen. Right now, I don't think we're at that point yet where we're going to start seeing the price of it go up. But I think hydrogen is going to be something to watch in the future. So keep your eyes open on that. All right, car sales. We'll jump into some car sales here. So 2022 actually saw 1.9 million new vehicles sold in Canada. That's actually down from 2021, and it's down 9.1%. That's kind of a big drop. But the last time our car sales were as low as they were in 22 was in 2009. And 2009 was just after, well, the housing collapse. So, you can kind of draw a little bit of a correlation there. But in this case here, it's not really has to do with our economy so much. It actually has to do with basically part shortages. So that's what's driven our drop in sales. Now, down in the U.S., General Motors actually passed Toyota as the in car sales. And here's the reason. Once again, it comes down to part shortages. General Motors was positioned in its position that they didn't get hit as bad. They had already, I don't know whether they stockpiled or what they did, but they didn't get hit as bad as Toyota. And that was enough to get them to push them up into number one, which is kind of interesting. All right. Now, there is something I want to show you guys. And just give me a second here. I'm going to get this over here on the screen. So for this next one, I have a visual aid for it. So let me bring this up here. Perfect. All right. So this here is the price of gold. So, and this is basically, it's priced in USD, so USD per ounce. So here's the interesting thing about this. Don't know if you guys can sort. Yeah, you guys can see my mouse. Perfect. So here's November, right back here. So from November till now, look at this. Gold has been on fire. So, and it's really interesting. There are, for example, I've been playing some gold ETFs. I've been making some good money on them as well, because their gold is just going up. And it's really, really interesting. There was that whole argument about whether Bitcoin or gold was a hedge against inflation. Well, this here is kind of saying that maybe Bitcoin is leading that little race here. And I'll just give you a tiny piece of information here. Just give me a second here. Whoops. All right. All right. So here, a little bit on the prices. So November, so at the beginning of November, so November 2nd, gold was priced at $1,620.09 USD per ounce. Now, we peaked on January 6th. So on January 6th, we were at $1,869.16 USD per ounce. So that is, in a few months, a return of investment of 15.37%. That is absolutely amazing. So that's one of those things. I know a lot of people I know a lot of people used to be very kind of naysayers towards gold, thinking, oh yeah, gold's never really going to go anywhere. But right now, gold is doing really well, and I don't see this trend stopping, anytime soon. So gold may be one of these things to watch. So just sort of keep that. Maybe do a little due diligence before you jump in. But I find that very interesting that gold is doing that. All right, now. There we go. Bring me back. And we got thoughts on the new savings account coming out the first time home in April. It's interesting. When I first heard about this, I was anti, I was against it. And I think the reason I was against it is they were doing something crazy where they were putting age restrictions on it, and they've kind of got rid of those. So it seems like the government keeps loosening up the restrictions on this savings account. So now, even though it says first-time home buyers, they've now have it to the point where as long as you haven't purchased a home within so many years, and I think it's either 4 or 5 years, but I need to look in a little bit further on that. You can now take advantage of this. So it's one of these things where if your TFSA is nowhere near being full, I don't think this makes that big of a difference because you can just put it in your TFSA right now. But I have heard that you can use it in conjunction with your RRSP because you're allowed to borrow a specific amount out of your RRSP that will allow you going towards a home. But here's the thing, though. Right now, I probably wouldn't recommend people buy homes until things stabilize. So home prices are coming down, which is great, but mortgages with these rate hikes are going up. So I would say at least the first half of this year, buying a home is probably not the best time. I would say maybe a little bit later in the year, but I will do a video on these, and I do want to research everything once it comes out, as they've got everything all fine-tuned. That way there I can give you a full, a better opinion than I can give you right now off on the fly. Right now, I'm of the opinion that if you haven't maxed out your TFSA, just continue using that. If you've maxed out your TFSA and you're looking for some more tax savings, then perhaps going with the new first home buyers TFSA is not a bad idea. All right, now, there we go. And the friggin' Oracle made it. Hello, friggin' Oracle. And he says, what will happen when they start mining from the deposit they found that states more gold in deposit than what's in circulation right now? It'll be interesting to see what happens. Now, I have not heard about that deposit, Ken, so I'd have to look into that to see, to sort of fact check it a little bit. But if that's the case, that could impact gold long term, but it really comes down to exactly what plans they have for it, because I think government might even be willing to step in a little bit to sort of slow something down like that, because you don't want to crash the gold market if that's the case. Kind of the same idea, like once we can mine asteroids, there's a lot of gold and precious metals in some of the asteroids as well. So, it's one of those things where right now we're sort of dealing with what's on the market, what people are willing to pay. But that is something to watch. And if that does deflate the market at some point, then yeah, absolutely pay attention to that, especially if you're invested in gold. But right now we're still on that upward trajectory, and I'm still feeling pretty good about gold. And gold is also used in a lot of circuit boards and things like that. So there is a big demand for gold. So let's see what happens with that. Jay Borg is in the house. Hello, Jay. Great to see you. And we got the hockey nut in here saying Happy New Year, everybody. Happy New Year to you as well. All right, next little story I have. This has to do with Canada and the Ukraine. So Canada is the first G7 nation to basically say all of the frozen Russian assets that we have, we're going to give that money to Ukraine so that they can rebuild. So that's what they're saying they want to do. This is an interesting stance. It's almost like It's almost like Robin Hood, stealing from the rich to give to the poor. But it'll be interesting to see whether some of the other G7s decide to follow suit as a way to sort of once that war finally does end, they're going to need a lot of rebuilding. Because right now, I'm sure there's parts of Ukraine that look like a golf course with all of the bombs that have dropped. So, yeah, it's one of those situations. I found it just interesting that Canada's the first to jump in to say that. I believe Germany's considering it as well. So I definitely think you'll see probably more countries get in to do that. And that would send, if you get a lot of countries doing it, that would send a clear message to the world that, hey, if you're going to be aggressive and start attacking your neighbors, this is what's going to happen. This is how we're going to help them out a little bit. So I think it's an interesting idea. Definitely an interesting idea. All right. Holy banana bread. We're getting through some of our stories pretty fast. I got a few more stories, but you guys keep in mind, keep the conversation going here in the chat. Just throw me some questions. We'll answer them. Whatever it is you guys want to talk about. Now, while you guys are thinking of questions, manufacturing, we got some news. So right now, Canada's GDP, 10% of it is made up from our manufacturing sector. And it is currently going, it's seeing a slowdown. It's actually the longest slowdown that we've had in the last 7 years. Now, where we're getting this information from is there's a thing called the S&P Global Canada Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index. So it's just called the PMI. So the PMI has fell for at this point, we're 5 months in a row. Our PMI has fallen. So in December, it came in at 49.2. Now, in November, it was 49.6. So it has fallen a little bit more. Now, what the PMI means is, think of 50 as a baseline on the PMI. So if you're above 50, it means that you are growing. If you're below 50, it means that you're contracting. So that's kind of what's happening right now with the Canadian manufacturing industry. Now, part of it has been because of the high cost of oil and energy. Supply chains have also played a part in this. So hopefully once these things come under control, we will get an uptick in manufacturing, because otherwise that's not going to be very good for our GDP. And when we talk about recession, that could move our GDP and that, towards those 2 quarters of negative GDP for recession. Okay. And Tim says, what do you think of crypto programs? Okay, Tim. Are we talking about crypto programs on YouTube, or are we talking, yeah, hit that like button, everybody, for sure. What do I think? Like right now with crypto is in a little bit of a lull, and I'm strongly still believe that until we get regulation, we're not going to see a lot of growth in crypto. Although Solano might be arguing with me, because from what I've heard, the last week, Solano has actually done pretty okay, which is kind of cool. Novatech. Tim, I've never heard of, I probably have heard of Novatech, but it's not ringing anything up right now. So I don't know. And it's kind of interesting. It's one of those things that, I think a lot of people have kind of sort of taken a sort of a backseat to crypto currently at the moment. And I know myself, I've mostly been stocks, and I do sort of dabble in crypto a little bit here and there. But yeah, Novatech, I don't know a lot about. So if you want to sort of enlighten me a little bit about them, I will certainly give you my opinion, because I got tons of opinions on pretty much everything, which is kind of cool. Let's see here. Ooh. TELUS or Bell or both? That is a really good question. And you know what? That's almost the type of question I should put in a future deep dive battle. But right now, I'll answer that question. I like both TELUS and Bell. Now, I I do hold some Bell. I don't hold some TELUS, but I did like a lot of what I saw in that in my deep dive that I recently did on TELUS, and I think TELUS has a lot of potential. I also think Bell has a lot of potential. And here's the funny thing: the competition board is now pushing Rogers and Shaw another step closer. So it's one of those funny things. It's like that, will Rogers and Shaw get together finally? It's starting to look like it's a reality now again. So that will certainly help Rogers, but I just don't like Rogers. So I would have a hard time, I guess. I would have a hard time supporting Rogers, but TELUS or Bell, I would say both. Right now, my answer on that would be both. Bell has been very solid. I mean, they're both really good, solid blue chip investments, and Rogers too. I'll give them that. Oh, my phone plan. Well, here's the funny thing. My phone plan, and be prepared to throw a shoe at your computer or your phone. My phone plan currently is with Rogers. Now, the only reason for that is that it is currently it's currently cheaper to go that route because Jill was with Rogers, I was with Bell. We were both paying an incredible amount, so we just went with a family plan, and that was the best one at the moment. So so I'm currently on Rogers, but I don't like them. Just to put that out there. Now Scott likes TELUS better than Bell, and oops, yeah, there we go. Wanted to make sure I had the right one up, and yeah, that's a funny thing about Rogers. So interesting thing. Now I do have one last little story, and then the rest of our time is just going to be whatever the heck we want to talk about. So you guys just throw things in. I mean, ask me anything about whatever, and we will, we will certainly head up that. Okay, now Canadian CEOs. So we had a report come out, and this is for 2021 because we don't yet have the information for 2022 until taxes are done. But the top 100 CEOs in Canada in 2021 had the average salary of $14.3 million. Now, and keep in mind, that salary, most of that is made up of like bonuses, which is kind of interesting all by itself. And I've heard a little bit about loopholes around things like that. So that's kind of interesting. But that amount, so that $14.3 million in 2021, that's 21% higher than the record back in 2018. So it's interesting that while people are dealing with inflation, now in 2021, mind you, inflation really hadn't set in yet. So I probably can't even use that argument in their case because there were still a lot of supports in place in 2021. But these guys were making massive profits. So it'll be interesting to see. I'd love to see their 2022 numbers, though, because then we can sort of look at that and compare it to things like inflation. Best American Utilities ETF for RRSP with some growth potential. Thoughts? That's a really good question, Hockey Nut. That one I'm going to have to research. I just don't have any that are popping off the top of my head. Now, yeah, I would definitely need to research that one a little bit. I know I did have somebody ask if I could do some American REITs. So I'm looking at a way to sort of pull those in, but that's not really your question. But no, I don't have an answer for you, Hockey Nut. I should do an American ETF video of some sort coming up. So I'll put that in the back of my burner for now. And let's see here. I own TELUS, but my phone plan is Bell. Thoughts on AI? Oh, I have lots of thoughts on AI. AI, I mean, it is the wave of the future. And, like you guys know, I did that one video about about Chat GPT. And I was actually really, really amazed. Like sometimes it's like, I think things like ChatGPT are going to be big time savers. And now keep in mind, I know a lot of people are like going, "Oh, ChatGPT is going to dethrone Google." It probably isn't. Google has their own AI that they're working on called Lambda. Once Lambda is ready for prime time and comes out, I have a feeling it's probably going to have more capabilities than ChatGPT. But at the same time, whether it's Lambda, whether it's ChatGPT, I think it's going to change the way we do a lot of different things because it's getting to the point that with ChatGPT, for example, you can now they've now encouraged it to do conversations, so you can just hold a conversation with ChatGPT, and throw things back and forth, which is kind of interesting. And like, well, let's do it. You know what? We're here. I will. Just give me a second here. I just need to find ChatGPT. I don't need that. Here it is. I'm going to drag it over onto the screen I'm sharing. And let's pull this up here. I'm going to pull this back up. All right. All right. So here's ChatGPT. We're just going to click on this here and open it up. Get ourselves a connection. So like I said, one of the things that we can do is we can ask it questions, or we can carry on conversations with it. So for example, let's ask it a question here, like all right, see what, well, let's ask ChatGPT its thoughts on AI. So what are your thoughts on AI? And we will see what ChatGPT thinks about AI, which is kind of funny. Let's move that over a little bit. All right, so here we go. We're starting to get an answer back, and I will read it. It says, as an AI, I believe that AI has the potential to be a powerful tool that can be used to benefit humanity. AI can be used to solve many of the problems that we face, such as disease, poverty, and environmental degradation. However, it is important that we approach the development and deployment of AI with caution and care, as it also has the potential to cause harm if not used properly. It is important that we consider the ethical implications of AI and ensure that its development and use is aligned with our values as a society. Holy banana bread, that's not bad. Now, you can say, you can come in and say a few things like, are you biased? I will ask the AI, are you biased? And then her response, or its response, is, as an AI, I do not have personal opinions or biases. I am a machine learning model that has been trained on a large data set, and I can provide information and answer questions to the best of my ability based on that training. I do not have personal feelings or beliefs, and I do not favor one thing over another. My responses are based on the information that I have been trained on and the algorithms that have been used to develop me, as I strive to provide accurate and useful information to the best of my ability. All right, so that's kind of cool. That's kind of AI. Well, we're not going to play in the AI too long. I just wanted to pull that up there for a second. For people who haven't seen Chat GPT, that's kind of the thing that you can do. Like, you can hold on conversations. Now, the big thing about AI, though, is we're people. As people, we're going to at some point want to create emotions or something or a similar thing with AI. And that's the kind of that danger. Like, what happens once we've given an AI a free will with emotions, and where will it go? Now, I think it's not going to go too bad. I think the big thing is, as long as we build it slowly, we work on making sure that it has the same kind of value that humanity has, that hopefully it will not end in like a Terminator style thing. All right. Any insights to open text? Not a lot. I don't use open text, so I don't know a lot about it, but I'll have to look into that, Tamalor. All right. Do you think Tesla will try sideways for the next quarter? Tesla is one of these ones that's interesting. Like, I think if Elon were to do nothing and not cause any controversy over the next quarter, then we probably will see some sideways. And there are some people out there that are actually expecting Tesla to start picking up and getting, and slowly start recovering. But I think that's one of those questions where if Elon does something stupid, or just makes too much of a fuss in the media, that will hurt Tesla stock. It has in the past. Interestingly enough, though, SpaceX doesn't seem to be harmed too much by some of the stuff that Elon does. I know they were able to secure some funding just to keep moving forward, and that's great. But keep in mind, they're not publicly traded. So, SpaceX is private. Well, so is Twitter now. But so far this year, Elon has been quiet, and hopefully he gets a new CEO in for Twitter eventually. And I think that will smooth things over a little bit. And he's got to, for whatever he does, he has got to stop selling Tesla stock. So right now, if I wanted to invest in Tesla, I probably would go via the purpose yield Tesla stock. Only because if Tesla does bad, at least through the covered calls on that yield's still going to be providing me with, with a half decent dividend while we wait for Tesla to get things turned around, and we wait for tech to start to recover in the US. Tech will recover at one point. So here's one of those things, and I know people like to complain sometimes, like, oh, I wish things would go up, but look at it this way. The sooner things start going back up in value, the sooner you're going to be paying more for them and not making as much, in the long term. Right now, while things are still kind of crashy towards the bottom, and I don't think we're at the bottom yet, you're getting a really good price on a lot of great blue chip stocks. Buying Google today at the prices that it's at, Google, Apple, Microsoft, these are going to be companies that on the other side of the bear market, when we move back into a bull market, buying these prices that you can pay right now, you're going to be so happy. So one of the nice things is that if the bull market let's say the bull market doesn't start till the fall, that means you've got about 9 months of some really good prices in front of you. And, depending on how your budget is for investing, if you're dollar cost averaging over that 9 months, those are going to be some really nice returns when things get back. So it's nice to see green. It really is. But you can make a lot more money in the red, stocking up now, planting all those little seeds. And then when the bull market comes, and you watch, you look in your Wealth Simple and you see your TFSA getting bigger and bigger. You'll be very happy that, you had that opportunity in the bear market to really sort of start to build up that portfolio. So that's kind of one of the neat little things. Yeah, exactly. And what Scott is saying, we will be looking back and wishing we bought more. Yeah, absolutely. So that's the thing. Because one of the big things is you want to be buying low and selling high. Well, when is buying low? Bear market is pretty darn low. So buying things now, selling them, in a bear market. Now there is an investment strategy out there where basically if you take the 10-month moving average, and whenever you go above the 10-month moving average, you start buying. And then whenever you go below, you sell. So you sell at the point where it crosses. So what it does is that strategy is like, you're always kind of, when it's above the 10-month moving average, that's when the price is going up. So, you've already bought as it's gone up in there. So you've bought, your price has gone up. And then when it starts to go below, now keep in mind, when it goes to go below, that point in the 10-month moving average is much higher than where you bought it at. So those people who use that strategy then pretty much sell everything and they sit on cash while it's going down below. And if it's a big crash, it could go down below quite a ways. And then when it comes back up, they're buying back in. And some people use that as a strategy. I would really, before I would ever consider using something like that, I would want to do sort of really long-term major back testing on it to see exactly how effective it is. But at the same time, I'm one of these people, I really don't mind if my stuff goes down. I am waiting it out, but I can understand that if you have a system where, you're selling before you go into a bear market and then buying it back, that can be. The only difference is, and this is where the back testing would tell you in a situation like this, is that because when you're buying when it's down below there, those things you're making a much bigger profit on when it goes up. So if you're kind of muting that, so you're kind of muting with that kind of a strategy, you would be muting how your growth potential, but you're also muting your loss potential. So it'd be interesting you'd almost be interesting to do like a long term where you take $1,000 and you use a strategy like that, and then you just have $1,000 that you just don't do anything and you let it ride and sort of see exactly where it could be. That would be kind of interesting to do. I don't know if I want to do it as a challenge, but it's just one of those things. I hear all these different strategies come all the time, and sometimes some of them are good, some of them are bad, but you just want to sort of do you want to do your own due diligence and sort of figure out which one is going to work for you. All right, if you guys got any more questions, drop them in while we're waiting for that. Give you guys a little bit more on that whole FIQ thing. So I dropped a little video about FIQ yesterday. Just in a nutshell, I think I actually used that word in the video itself, but in a nutshell, what FIQ is it's basically financial intelligence. It's one of these things. When I started the channel, I had a goal that I wanted to do a little bit more than just investing. I also wanted to touch on, saving and things like that. And that stuff didn't do so well. But Jill came along and she said, listen, I'd like to do some of these videos. And we thought about, well, what made sense? Give her a separate channel to do this type of stuff on it? Or, could I marry it into here as additional content? Whereas you still get all the normal content from me, and then we get the occasional video popping up from Jill on the FIQ. And I was like, you know what? Let's do that, because then we can sort of try to take that and my videos that do sort of lean in that direction. We could put a little FIQ sticker or something on it just to sort of say, these are the new investor type videos. So I think that's going to be really neat. Now, the type of things that I think Jill is going to do, so I know she wants to do some studies like for example, a financial diet. Like how do you prevent yourself from spending all kinds of money so that you have more money that you can utilize towards investing? I think she also wants to do some of these interesting ones. Like I think one that came to mind was like a toilet paper study, where is buying the cheap toilet paper better than buying a more expensive one? Because if you think about it, when you when you buy the cheap one, you end up using so much more. So if you're paying 10% less for some cheap toilet paper, but you're using 20% more, then it may not be financially feasible. So that's just, and I said, that's just kind of a wild example. I don't know if she plans to make a toilet paper video, but well, here's Jill in the thing. We'll get to her in just a second. I just want to, I like to keep things in order here. And then we'll just jump to Jill right now, because we're talking about her. So yeah, I'm planning on starting for those beginning their financial IQ journey. I plan on having it be a bit more of a personal perspective combined with education. Yeah, so exactly. So sort of like a case study almost. All right, let me jump back up here for an idea here. All right, Tamalor says, top 3 bank stocks for you. And it seems as though BNS has suffered over the years. Yes. Well, if I look at my top 3 bank stocks, obviously, I think TD has to be up there. Probably TD, RBC, and I still like BNS. I know they have suffered. I know they've had a rough year, but they're pretty expanded into Central and South America. So I really think they're going to be good. Now, I also, outside of the top 6, I do like Canadian Western Bank, and I know that they've had some liquidity issues and a few things, but they're still a nice little bank. So, and now use-wise, I mean, I do my day trading with National Bank because they've got the best, they got one of the better brokerages for that. So I just like their brokerage. So that's kind of a neat little thing. All right. Our Sapper, welcome. If you can do a comparison between investing brokers like the free National Bank versus Wealthsimple versus Questrade. Well, I can certainly speak on the National Bank. Now, the problem is with Wealthsimple is I don't. I think it boils down when you're looking at day trading, it really boils down to having the ability to move things quickly. Now, I'll take a look. I haven't looked at I have to look at the desktop version of Wealthsimple. I can tell you right now, the mobile version, no, don't do it. If you're going to day trade, you want to be doing it on a desktop. You don't want to be doing it on your phone or, or even on an iPad. You really want that real estate and you want the extra monitors. So, for example, when you look at my room, my studio, and I'm going to show you right now, you can see I have 3 monitors all set up here. And that I use all 3 of them. Well, technically one of them is a laptop, but this monitor here is double sized, so it's actually size of 2 monitors, and then that one's a pretty big one. So, all right, now let me see if I can get this back. There's the blue screen in case I want to wear green. Eek. There we go. So you guys just got a little bit of a tour there. So yeah, you want to be using a desktop. I'll check on the Wealthsimple one. The big thing is that you want to, first of all, you want to have quick access to its current price. You want to be able to see that ask and bid spread big time. And you want to be able to sort of be able to move pretty quickly because things can change really fast when you're, depending on the style of day trading you're using. Like I do something that's akin to scalping, meaning that I'm clicking off little ticks here and there, but we'll definitely talk more about that. I think that's kind of a cool little thing. I'll take a look, our Sapper. Now I have also used, oh God, what the hell is the name of that? Not Laurentian, but Desjardins. I tried Desjardins. They have a lot more than what Wealthsimple than what National Bank has, but I just didn't have the mobility. It took too long to do what I wanted to do because I need to be able to strike really, really fast. So that's kind of a neat little thing about that. All right, now Trevor's in the house. I also own TELUS, but have a Bell plan. Yeah, absolutely. And then looking forward to it. Yeah. So here's the big thing. When it comes to ideas that you guys want me to do videos on, quite literally, the best place to put it is, I would say, in a comment on a video, current video, or even better, if you come over to the Facebook group. So Mountain Finance on Facebook, it's a private community. Just search for it, join. Just pipe it in there, and I will try to get to. I may not be able to get to everything that you have, because sometimes people will ask me to do a video, and it's just like, it's just not a good idea. I do get those. Not to say most of them. I will say most of the ideas that have been thrown at me have been fantastic. Now, here's the one idea, though, I do want to start getting from you guys is, we'll even mention that right now, is that the battles, right? Who do you guys want to see fighting each other? And keep it, here's the only rule, is that both companies need to be in the same sector. So, for example, we had that question, TELUS versus Bell. Well, that would make a great battle right there. Bang. And so keep in mind, and let me throw those at me. Let me know what you guys want to see battle-wise. Obviously, when it comes to, like if you're a community member, I think I always ask them what they want to see, but let me know, even if you're not a community member, let me know what you want to see, because that's what I try to do. I try to get what you guys want out there for you, because to me, that's kind of important. Oh, just one of these days, I'm going to have another sip of water. So, yeah. And there, Jill's mentioning it as well. We did try Desjardins, but they weren't very good, at least for my style. Now, oh, Mr. Red Taco's in the house. Hi, Mr. Red Taco. I love Mr. Red Taco. It's kind of cool. Or if you want me to do particular topics for my financial IQ stuff, she misspelled my name. Can you believe it? Let Candace. Well, I think it's her autocorrect misspells my name, and she can pass it on to me. Could you do a split fund battle? Well, yeah, but tell me who. Tell me who, Mr. Hockey Nut. Well, I guess it's just Hockey Nut, but I'm sure, let me know. Let me know who within a split fund. There's a lot of different split funds. Or it can be like an ETF. Like, here's the thing though. With ETFs, I'd like them to be, if we're going to do an ETF battle, I'd like them to both be sort of representing similar assets, if that makes any sense, because, this whole thing is about comparing an apple to an apple, opposed to an apple to an orange. That's kind of the whole idea of the battle, because then it kind of works out pretty neat that way. And there's potential. We could do a lot of different things with these battles. At some point down the line, if we want to do like I remember last year, Nate Palmatier over on his channel did this whole battle thing almost based off of the NCAA in the States. And, but with him, I think he did it with all crypto coins. So, that's kind of an interesting thing. Now, here we go. Create, save, and invest. This would be a perfect idea. So BTCY versus ETHY. Now, that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea. I like that. So we'll probably do that one eventually for sure. Let's see. Well, you're not going to compare an oil company to a crypto. Yeah, exactly. Because that's kind of the whole thing. It's just like, who is better, Imperial Oil versus Enbridge, or, or something along that line type thing. Now, I haven't yet nailed down who is going to be on Thursday's battle, but, if nobody comes up with a better idea, it might just be BTCY versus ETHY. The only reason that I'm hesitant to do both of them is because they both have right now, they both have lost so much value with the collapse of crypto. But I'll still do them. I'll definitely do them, Scott, one of these Thursdays. Maybe not this Thursday, because I think last Thursday where I kind of did BAM versus BN, I kind of want something to be more, because where they were both technically from the same company, I kind of want something big and shiny, and going against each other. And right now, I think kind of the TELUS versus Bell is kind of up there. So that's kind of an interesting thing. Oh, or maybe we could do it like a cage match, right? TELUS versus Bell versus Rogers. Probably be a little bit longer video, but I think that would be kind of interesting. SBC versus BK, top Canadian banks. That is a interesting idea, Hockey Nut. I do actually hold BK, so I like that. And Muggsy is, I think TELUS and Bell would be good. All right, well, let me ask this question. TELUS versus Bell, or TELUS, Bell, and Rogers in a cage match? Let me know in the chat, whichever gets the most from you guys. So just TELUS and Bell or the cage match. Let me know. Whatever it is, I will go with it. So, and we've got, we got a good 7 minutes or so, or however long. I don't care. I mean, even though the show is technically an hour, like I said, I don't care how long it goes. Oh, here we go. Cage match. So cage and cage. I think as soon as I said cage match, it was pretty much, self-ordained that's what we will have. And Jay, cage match. Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. Another one for the cage match. Royal Rumble. Oh, banana bread. Holy banana bread. I totally set myself up for that one. All right. Well, Thursday, it is a cage match. It is a total cage match. 3 will enter the ring, but only 1 will come out. So And Nicole's in the house. Hi, Nicole. It's fantastic seeing you. Nicole is our latest channel member. So that is awesome. Next Saturday, for our channel members only, we're going to do a my favorite 5 stocks. So my favorite 5 companies coming out on Saturday. So that's for the members. That's part of their exclusive content. So if you guys, anybody who wants to be a member, you can do that down below. I'm sure you guys can figure that out. There's like a little thing that says join. You just click on that and you join up, and then you'll be able to watch that video. The other thing that members do get is every single trade I make in my Wealth Simple, every single dividend I receive, I just post it all there for everybody to see. So that is one of the good things. All right, Mr. Red Taco is saying, did you complete your driver's training? Yes, I have completed the training, but I can't actually take my test until April because they make you wait 8 months. So I'll probably do just a little bit of, I'll probably book just a couple of extra lessons before then, just to keep my skills up before the big test. So that'll be kind of fantastic. All right. So that's the training. Tomorrow's video. Tomorrow's video is, I mentioned that I wanted to do a few things a little bit different. It is still a list video, but it's not a list the way that you think of. It's basically the top 7 ways to get yourself wrecked in a bear market. So that's kind of interesting. 8 months, that's a weird number. Yeah, it's sort of because you can do it in 8 months if you take a driver's training course. Normally, it's 1 year that you have to hold your beginner's license before you can actually do the big thing. So that's why it's kind of weird. But end of April, I will be allowed to take my test. How to get mauled in a bear market. Yeah, exactly. That's not a bad title either. I probably should have used that one, but no, I kind of like the idea of the word wrecked. So now, obviously, this video is not about getting wrecked. It's basically kind of that play on, hey, these are the things that will get you wrecked. You probably shouldn't want to be doing them. So that'll be kind of interesting. What does Jill say here? Also, as I think about channel members, maybe give them away once a month. Yeah, I would like to do that. You know what? As soon as I figure out how, what I'm going to do is every month we'll do like a channel, like not a channel member, but we'll have like a gift of the month. So every month we'll gift somebody a channel membership. So that way there they can, they can get in and check that out, because I think that would be kind of cool. Now, if I had a clue how to do that, we'll get that figured out. So next week, so not today, but next Sunday, we will be gifting a membership, for January. And then we'll do the same thing in February and everything else. So we'll just do that. Yeah, it's a great idea, Jill. Absolutely. I just have to figure out exactly how to do it, but we'll get that all worked out by next week, and we'll do that. So that'll be kind of the show you don't want to miss, because then you might get your name highlighted, and then you'll be able to. The beautiful thing too is you can then go back and watch and look at anything that you missed since we started doing the exclusive stuff for channel members. Awesome. And you'll also be able to watch next Saturday's video 1 day late, but you'll see what my favorite stock. Now, you guys who've been in the community for a long time could probably piece together what my favorite stocks may be. But with this video, for the channel members, I'm just going to break it down for them and explain why they're my favorite stocks, and we'll go from there. Okay. Speech to text errors. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Although I will say speech to text is getting so much better nowadays than it used to be. I've seen some dandy errors back in the earlier days of speech to text. All right. Do you guys got anything else? If you guys got anything else, throw it up there right now. Otherwise we're going to start to wind things down, and, and I don't know, unless you guys want to wind things down, it's entirely up to you. That's kind of that's the beautiful thing about a live stream, right? Is that you guys have all the power. I just talk and drink some bubbly. It's good water. If you haven't tried bubbly, I just really, really like it. And we already talked about this, Mr. Red Taco. For some reason, Elon has not messed anything up this week that I've seen. He's been a good boy, which is great. Other than Tesla, I mean, Tesla still fell, but the reason Tesla fell is some of their numbers came in pretty short when it comes to the amount of cars and things that they sold in 2022. But even then, you can't really hold Tesla totally at fault for it. A lot of it had to do with the lockdowns in China and some of the supply chain issues. Oh, Mr. Red Taco, yeah, you came in at the late. Well, you know what? When we finish, Mr. Red Taco, I just go back and watch the beginning. And then once we get to this point, or the point that you enter, then you can stop. So, or I mean, or you could just sort of fast forward and say, oh, yeah, okay, let's get to the good parts. All right. Is getting into Microsoft part of AI? Well, I imagine Microsoft is working on a part of AI. Now, I haven't publicly heard too much about what Microsoft is doing with AI, but I think any big technology company, Microsoft, Apple, especially ones that have things like that, I think they can't afford not to be getting into AI. So it'll be really interesting. I think when you look at AI right now, it's already at the point where it's kind of cool. Give it another 5 years. I imagine 5 years from now, you call anybody, you call up any call center, you're probably not even going to get a person at that point. You're probably going to be talking to an AI and you won't even know it. That's the beautiful part, because they're coming along that well. And it may not have real emotions, but it may be able to completely simulate emotions to the point that you just won't know. And yeah, Mr. Red Taco said it perfectly. If they don't, they will get left behind. Exactly. That's kind of that thing. You need to get on board, or you will get left behind. And, that's kind of the way technology works. And I mean, Microsoft has been around since forever, both them and Apple. They're not about to get left behind. And well, Apple already has Siri. Siri is an AI. And I'm pretty sure Microsoft has something that you can talk to. I know in Office they used to have that annoying paperclip, but I use Apple, so I don't know what Microsoft has, but I think it has some kind of a voice assistant. Anybody who knows, anybody here who uses anyone who uses Microsoft and knows who that assistant is, does it have a name? I'll just call it Bernard for now until somebody tells me its name. Yeah, I think they have something like that. And I mean, Google has its AI version, and Amazon has its version. I'm not going to say it because it's in the room and it will respond. Actually, the funny thing is with Siri is that she's responding to stuff all the time. She just pipes in and starts talking about or answering a question that was never asked to her. So it's like, oh, is that it, Ted? Okay. So there we go. Apparently Microsoft has TED. So that's kind of cool. I guess in some ways you could say TED Talks. Oh dear. I really shouldn't have said that, but that was funny. All right. Anyway, we've pretty much come to the end here. We're going to sort of slide out here. If anybody wants to just sort of drop down a goodbye for everybody, we'll pull it up and we'll, because I always like to have that positive, happy, get ready for the week thing to end on. So I'll wait for one of you guys to do that as we're pulling things through.
Have a great week, everybody.
And that was Jill from upstairs yelling, have a great week. And well, this is close. Scott saying thanks, everyone. And it is, yeah, it's fantastic. As I said before, make sure to check out Scott's live stream if you got the chance, or if you just want something in the background to listen to. 11 o'clock weekdays when the market's open. I try to show up. Sometimes I totally miss because I get all really busy in the day trading, and then I look up and it's like 12, and I'm like, oh, I think I just missed Scott's show. No, I haven't used Microsoft since Vista. Nothing called TED that I know of. Oh, okay. That's too bad because TED Talk sounds kind of funny. Chicha or Cio. I can't pronounce that. Trevor, you got me on that one. Kakio. All right. Thanks for the great content. Take care and be safe. And we'll end it on Mr. Red Taco. Have a good weekend, everyone. No, have a good week, everyone. It's not the weekend yet. All right, everybody. Yeah, I know it's Sunday. All right, everybody. Have a fantastic week. We'll be back here next week with This Week. Take care.